who went to Kazakhstan because Kazakhstan is like the only place where they can like gamble legally. And after that, like to get to China, like I hitched this guy, and he drove me straight to the border where his brothers are working as border guards, something like that. So I had like he also hosted me at their house, like in the border. So I slept like between two borders. And he also introduced me to his family. His mother was thinking that I'm her son-in-law because she didn't really recognize me. She was yeah. And yeah, that's me with the Afghan quotes, which is like an interesting story, like how I got it. I'll tell you later, like when I come back to this experience. These are some Chinese drivers, and this is my friend from Russia that I met again for the second time on this trip, and I met her like one more time later. So we hitchhiked for one more week around China, and then she went to some, I don't know, towards Tibet, and I went like further, like more towards the east. These people picked us up, and they also kind of hosted us. Actually, they called their friend who is a cop, and cop knows some people in the hotel, and people gave us a room. Yeah, like people know people. Anyway, some more drivers across China. This woman was a driver, and she was probably one of the craziest drivers that I have. She was like overtaking like on a full line like all the time and driving like a maniac. And she was laughing, like, ah, don't worry, don't worry. Everything's okay, but yeah, she looks like harmless. Right? At some point, like we changed her because like it was kind of dangerous. Anyway, this guy was my driver, and this is like reunion of Counter-Strike players in China.
Counter-Strike players?
Yeah, they had like 10 years reunion of Counter-Strike players.
Damn.
Keeping me and the other guy like from Hong Kong, we hitchhiked, and they brought us there. We had a dinner and party, and at the end like food fight. it was quite interesting evening. And then this guy hosted us. That guy gave me a ride for like 700 kilometers in one day. That day I hitched like I think 1,000 kilometers in like 11 hours. Like mostly thanks to him. Because he drove me like all the way like from, actually he drove me through four provinces. And eventually I arrived in Hangzhou. Actually that week was kind of tricky because like my credit card, I had a problem with credit card. So I traveled without money. I don't know, I slept in some receptions on hotels or sometimes with a host or something that I found out. Oh, sorry?
How did you eat?
Good question. Like, I ate mostly in the bank because I stayed in one city like 2 days, and I went to one bank to explain what happened. So since I didn't have money, they fed me in the bank. So I had like my breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the bank mostly, and like also like my host fed me, and once or twice like my driver fed me, and then I arrived at the place where I got a job. So everything was okay. And yeah, also police gave me a ride a few times in China. Like, although they never like realize what I'm doing, but the first thing that I learned in Chinese is to explain what I'm doing, that I'm hitchhiking, that I'm traveling from here to there, and they were always helping me. Like police, I was hitchhiking once in a night, and police didn't allow me to hitchhike because they thought it's dangerous, so they insisted to pay hotel for me, and next day like they gave me a ride and stuff. Interesting.
Those are cool police.
While I was working in China, like I had like a spring, a big holiday called Spring Festival. So I went to Beijing to hitchhike there and back. And this was like one of the truck that we caught. Like I hitchhiked with my friend from China. And this guy gave us a ride to Beijing. In the meantime, we spent like a night in a toll gate. where I recorded my voice next day for English version of Dear Driver, welcome to Shanghai, Beijing Highway, drive safe, blah blah.
Wait, so if I drive on that highway, hear your voice?
Yes,
That's awesome.
They recorded my voice.
So
Like, after they gave us a couch, they recorded me. And, yeah, then this guy gave us a ride to Beijing, and he also hosted us. These are people who give us a ride back from Beijing to Hangzhou, which is like 1,300 kilometers. We traveled 2 days with them. We spent the morning at the Yellow Sea, and they insisted that we swim with them, and they bought us this equipment because most of Chinese people don't know to swim. Hello.
Hi.
I'm just talking about the drivers and okay, that's how like most of the drivers like look like and what can happen if you hitchhike. Okay, there are some more of them. Like, I mean, everybody has their own story. I mean, you can imagine like I don't know. You can just imagine the story behind the pictures. Like, I don't know, this guy gave me a ride, and we were singing some kind of American love songs from the 60s in their car. This guy tried to overtake another car which was going to my island, and since the car didn't stop, he was like, I don't know, just driving me all the way to the island. Some family gave me a ride on my road, like from hitchhiking from China towards Laos. This is my first driver in Laos. I hitchhiked with some Chinese girl who hosted me, and some other drivers in Laos. I was a driver in Laos like for like a few days when I rented a motorbike for the first time, and this monk was my host. I mean, I just like walked in random like temples, and I don't know, I explained like who am I, and they all accepted me, like, and it was kind of interesting. Some of them like joined me like for trips.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How did you get a monk to host you? How did it happen? Like,
I just walked in a temple. I say like, who am I? What am I doing? And if I can stay with them.
okay.
Actually, I even managed to sign some monks on couchsurfing, especially.
become a priest.
Now there is a monk who is like hosting a lot of people like after he joined couchsurfing.
Awesome.
It became like quite active. Truck in a Myanmar. Yeah. Well. Yeah, this is when I managed to hitchhike the whole crew of journalists who were doing a TV show in some random remote villages. So they brought me to these villages and made me like part of the story. I spent like the whole day with them. Like I got introduced into the local customs and stuff, and they even like asked me for opinions about something. They made me hold a speech and stuff, and it was really incredible experience.
I have a question about this one.
Yeah.
Out of this whole crowd, who are the people who are going to be on the camera?
So these two girls are TV hosts. Most other people are from the village. These three people are organizers and donators. Like most of them like donate money for like for villages and stuff, and they're like trying to make like more people aware about like what's happening and what's government like, and the government doesn't help. I mean, since government doesn't help, they tend to like do it like with medias and like get awareness from people and like yeah, bring the yeah.
And who's the girl in the red?
Some girl from the village. Who's, I think also helping with organizing. This is a group of bikers who were driving from China to the south of Myanmar, and they gave me a ride for I think like 60, 70 kilometers somewhere down. This is a family bus, like bus rented by the whole family. They gave me a ride like in some really remote area where there was also like really hard to get cars, and like there I had like some story with some drunk school teacher on a motorbike. Then I decided to run away from him, and I somehow escaped from him and found this like bus like after an hour of hiding.
Did you literally run away from the school teacher?
No, I ran away from the school
You
teacher.
literally ran away.
Who was he insisted like to drive me somewhere, but he was completely drunk. And he was like, oh, you're my brother, I drive you. And I was like, stopping in some random places to drink more, and then he fell asleep. So I just went to him, and I woke out, and then like I saw him like he was driving like slowly, looking very heavy. That was incredible. And my host in Sri Lanka also drove me like around, and my other driver in Sri Lanka did a hitchhike. Some drivers from Lebanon who were like really curious if I'm hitchhiking there. I mean, they also never saw hitchhikers. After that I went to Cyprus. From Cyprus I went to Turkey. This guy gave me a ride. He's also a police officer. He gave me a ride in Turkey, like, and we stopped in police station, and they fed me with lots of fried chicken. And this is my last driver who drove me from directly from Turkey to Serbia, to my city. His name was Mustafa, but everybody in Serbia knows him as Velimir, which is like kind of Serbian version of his name. And he also speaks Serbian, like in like I don't know, do some business like with. Curtains, yeah, curtains. Yeah. And yeah, this is like the story of my drivers and about hitchhiking, like from all these places. So I don't know, like what kind of idea did you have about hitchhiking? But my point was to present like some other different ideas, like through the stories that I experienced with my drivers, who drove me all the way over there, and how it's not really difficult at all. How it's really interesting. How it's not like about like reaching destination, but it's like about experiencing like the road and the journey and learning something about like people, because like these people like don't expect you, and then you just like I don't know, walk into their life, and like you're just like suddenly part of their life.